With all those problems, we thought that we would ask Ms. Kanishka Upadhyay, a nutritionist, to give us a presentation, our 116th presentation on tea versus coffee, the great debate. Now, Ms. Kanishka Upadhyay, start your presentation.
Thank you so much for the great introduction. So today, I hope all of you are excited for this session because it's a topic which is definitely of great debate, that which one is better, whether it is tea or it is coffee, right? So now let me just share my screen and just a minute. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible to you all.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's visible.
So today we are going to answer the long-awaited debate, that is whether tea is better or it is coffee. And by the end of the session, I leave it to you to decide that whether, like you are going to have a cup of chai, that is tea, or coffee in the morning. So let's start. So this is a brief overview of our presentation for today. We are going to discuss about the origin, the history of tea and coffee, the different types, and then there will be a comparison on the health benefits of both. And then let's see who wins the great debate, whether it's tea or it's coffee. So before, knowing about the history and the evolution of tea and coffee, let's understand the basic difference, right? When we talk about coffee, so coffee is basically a brewed drink, which is made from roasted coffee beans, okay? And coffee contains caffeine, which is a stimulant. It basically alerts you. It makes your CNS, your central nervous system, your brain active, and it also helps in reducing fatigue, right? On the other hand, when we talk about tea, then tea is obtained from a plant known as Camellia sinensis, and we use the dried leaves of that plant and we steep them in hot water. And this particular plant can in fact give rise to the different variety of teas which we have these days. I will like to name a few of them, like oolong tea, green tea. Okay, then you have black tea, hibiscus tea, etc. So today, let's first start with the history. When we talk about tea, tea has a timeless journey to unravel. It dates back from 2500 BC, where it was first discovered in China. And then from China, tea traveled to Japan, from Japan to England, from England to Netherlands, and then it finally came to India. And now India is one of the second largest producer of tea. On the other hand, if we talk about coffee, so I would like to narrate a very interesting story about the discovery, the origin of coffee. So if you check online, there are different stories, there are different narratives which are available. But the most famous one is about the goat theory. Okay. So coffee was first discovered in a place called as Kaffa in Ethiopia. So there was an Arab goat herder whose name was Kaldi. In 850 AD, Kaldi, who was a goat herder, so one day he was just watching his goats eat branches with white flowers and green and red fruits. So this observation, he reported it to the village monks. Then, the very same day, the monks, they found, I think someone's mic is not muted. Can you please mute the mic? There's a disturbance in background. Yeah. So then the very same day, monks found that the coffee tree, okay, basically that particular plant which the goats were going again and again. They were grazing that particular plant. So that looked like a coffee tree, right? Then they basically extracted those coffee beans, those red color looking like coffee beans. They pressed it, and that led to the discovery of coffee. And when they tasted it, it tasted very bitter. So then this particular version of coffee, it traveled to different places. Can someone please mute their mic? I don't know who's unmuted, but can you please mute your mic? Yeah. So this was the tale of the origin of coffee, which was first discovered in Ethiopia. Now, if we do a comparison of coffee and tea, then basically, first of all, when we talk about coffee, it is obtained from coffee bean. Okay. On the other hand, tea is obtained from leaf of the plant, which I discussed before. And most important, some people think, though I think now many of you must be knowing this fact, that even tea contains some amount of caffeine, right? So the caffeine content between coffee and tea differs, right? Coffee contains around 80 to 185 milligrams of caffeine per cup. So with per cup, I'm referring to around a 150 ml cup. On the other hand, tea contains 15 to 70 milligrams of caffeine per cup. And when we talk about the different types or the different variants of consumption of coffee, it can be in the form of cappuccino, it can be instant, decaf. Nowadays, decaf coffee is is a very popular trend among youngsters. Then you have brewed coffee, espresso, latte, americano, all the variants are right. And even for tea, we have green tea. Black tea is a most popular variant, especially in the US. People consume black tea. Then there is oolong tea, yellow tea. There's a tea known as Kukicha, which has its origin from India only. And then there are different types of tea which are available, like hibiscus tea. There are many, And then we talk about the place of origin. So as I already told you about the history of coffee, it was first discovered in Ethiopia and even in Yemen. Tea was first discovered in China, then in Assam and in northern Myanmar, right? Now, let's just understand few of the facts and statistics about the tea drinkers versus the coffee drinkers, right? As well as the pattern, the latest news which we have regarding this industry. So UNESCO has declared masala chai as the second best non-alcoholic drink. I hope you all are aware of this, right? So India is the country from where this masala chai it originated, and now it has been declared as the best non-alcoholic drink. And India is itself the second largest tea producer in the world. 70% of this tea is consumed in India itself. And if we talk about, so this data is from the Tea Association of the US. If we talk about the statistics of tea in the US, then around 70 to 80% of the tea drinkers in the US, they consume iced tea, right? And Indian tea market, it is expected to increase by around 5.3% from 2023 to 2028. And I'm pretty sure you all must have heard of this famous saying that if you open a tea business, okay, or maybe a coffee business, definitely it will work, right? So in India nowadays, we have this MBA chai wala and all the famous chai walas, people ditching their jobs and opening a tea or a coffee stall. So this itself proves that this industry is so huge, right? And if you talk about coffee, then definitely India is home to around 16 indigenous coffee flavors, and it is the world's sixth largest coffee producer. So isn't it interesting? If we talk about the American data, okay? So American, this is the data for last year, that is 2023. Americans consumed around 89 billion servings of tea last year. And on an average, the US coffee drinkers, if we talk about, So they consume around 2 to 3 cups of coffee each day. I believe this can be more than that also. But yeah. And if we talk about the countries, okay, which drink more than 40% of the tea which is produced worldwide each year, then China and Japan, they are the top rankers. And in the US, there are around 37,000 coffee shops or cafes. So you will find that everywhere in the US, so many coffee shops you can see. Now, let's discuss about the types of coffee. Due to time limitation, we cannot, like there are more, the types of tea, types of coffee, there are many, but I have included the ones which are like very famous and few of them which have some, health benefits as well. So these, on the left side, you can see are the different types of coffee which we consume, like cappuccino being the most common one, cappuccino, Americano, mocha, your latte, then you have your cortado, okay, the Irish coffee. So there are many, right? And you can see in these cups how they are prepared is also mentioned. For example, when you are preparing mocha, okay, so you use espresso, steamed milk, and then there is hot chocolate which is added. Americano is simply your espresso and your hot water. Cappuccino is made from milk. So these are the different types of coffee. When we talk about the different types of tea, then we have like, in our households, the most common one is this one where my cursor is, that is the ginger tulsi tea, right? Adrak wali chai, which we call as. So that adrak wali chai or your ginger tea is the most common one, which is made in every household, I believe in every Indian household. Then green tea, which is very good for weight loss, as well as it has anti-inflammatory properties, right? Then we have black tea, just like we have black coffee, then there is black tea. And another one is your chamomile tea. So I would specifically like to discuss about chamomile tea. Just a minute.
Kanishka, you have to unmute yourself.
Yes. So then I would like to discuss about chamomile tea. So chamomile tea is especially good for those people who have sleep issues. Okay, because it actually has those therapeutic properties to induce sleep. This one, the point where my cursor is, this is chamomile tea. This is a herbal tea. Okay, and it contains like no caffeine. So remember this thing: the herbal teas, they have no caffeine which is present in them. Then the one we can see over here. Slide not moving. I'll just reshare my screen again. I think there's some issue from my end. The slide is not moving. Yeah. Okay, great. Then we have hibiscus tea. Hibiscus tea is also a herbal tea which has a great, therapeutic benefit. It's especially great for those women who are trying to conceive. Okay, and it is also great for men who want to increase their sperm quality. Apart from that, it also helps in calming the mind and it helps in migraine issues as well. Then we have the spearmint tea. Spearmint tea is usually given to those patients who have hormonal disorders, especially it's very much famous in the PCOS patients, right? Now, when we talk particularly about tea, okay, so tea is a source of caffeine. So all different types of teas, if you just saw, they all have caffeine except the herbal teas, right? Herbal teas, like you have your tulsi tea, simple, it can be your tulsi tea, or it can be your chamomile tea, your hibiscus tea. All these are your herbal teas and they don't contain caffeine. Apart from that, tea is an excellent source of your polyphenols, right? So what are polyphenols? Polyphenols are your antioxidants, which basically help in preventing inflammation in the body. So these are the names of the flavonoids which are there in your tea, like your quercetin, your myricetin, camphorol. So all these names you don't have to remember, I'm just telling you for your knowledge. Then you have your theaflavins, which are there in your black tea especially. Then we have our catechins. So catechins are found in your green tea, okay, which helps a lot in inflammation, in reducing inflammation, and they have anti-inflammatory action. The name of the catechin, which is found in green tea, is your EGCG, known as epigallocatechin gallate. Okay, so these are all the good things which I told you. But remember one thing, your tea also contains tannins. Okay, tannins are again, these are also your polyphenols, but not the good ones. So flavonoids and theaflavins, these are the good polyphenols, right? But tannins are the bad guys over here because tannins interfere with the iron absorption in your body. I will talk about it in the subsequent slides. I've just given you an introduction of the word tannins because these are a type of polyphenols. Now, let's look at the caffeine content. So if we compare 1 cup of coffee or tea, so with 1 cup, I'm referring to 150 ml of cup. It contains around 95 to 165 milligrams of caffeine. The coffee, it contains around this much amount of caffeine. If we talk about black tea, 1 cup of black tea, it contains around 25 to 48 milligrams of caffeine. Green tea contains around 24 to 29 milligrams of caffeine. So this can give you an estimate, right? And here, if you look below, down here at this figure, no crash, medium crash, strong crash. This indicates the levels, like, strong crash means very high caffeine. Okay, medium crash means medium caffeine. No crash means very minimal amount of caffeine, which is there in your white tea. Even green tea is better because the caffeine content is, not too high. Then you have your black tea, which also comes under the medium category, a bit above the medium category. Coffee. Coffee definitely contains a high caffeine content as compared to tea, right? And as I told you that coffee contains caffeine, and caffeine is a stimulant, right? It alerts your brain. Okay? It makes you very active. Sometimes someone is mute, someone's mic is okay. Now let's look at the health face-off between tea and coffee. So if we talk about
Kanishka,
health,
please stop. Sahara, can you please mute all the people? Only Kanishka can unmute and start talking.
Yeah, I'm muting everyone. Manish, can you please
thank you.
mute?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So you're able to see my screen, right? Yeah. So when we talk about the health benefits, so this is a health face-off which we are going to discover the health benefits of tea and the health benefits of coffee. So definitely tea, because it contains polyphenols, it is rich in antioxidants. Okay. It also helps in fighting inflammation. So in Alzheimer patients, we do recommend them herbal teas. Okay. It lowers the risk of stroke and heart disease. So all this which I'm telling, this is all from the scientific studies which have been well established. Okay. Which have been done on a good number of participants to give a good amount of result. So definitely tea helps in lowering down the risk of stroke and heart disease. It also helps in boosting your brain health, okay, making you more alert. And like sometimes you must have heard the saying that some people, when they get up in the morning, they are like, okay, I need a cup of my chai, I need a cup of my tea to focus, okay, to be alert, okay, to be able to work well. Okay, or maybe you have heard of people saying that I need my cup of coffee or I need my cup of black coffee. Right. So this is one thing. It does help in boosting your brain health, right? When we talk about coffee, so around 4 out of 5 Americans, they drink coffee every day. So the coffee consumption in America is definitely high, right? So coffee, it has been proven by research that yes, it reduces the chance of recurring colon cancer. Okay, so just note the word over here, the recurring colon cancer. Apart from that, it is also rich in antioxidants. It helps in also increasing your IQ levels. Though this study, like I have read few papers on coffee and the connection between IQ levels, but I'm not very much confident about it because there were some disparities, some loopholes in the studies which I read, like the methodology and everything. But definitely, yes, coffee has been suggested to prevent the onset of Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease, right? So definitely, both of them have their own benefits, right? And one very, very important thing which I would like to bring in focus is that, see, if you are a regular coffee and tea drinker, okay, don't forget to brush your teeth after you consume it because it is likely to stain your teeth as well. So keep this in mind. Don't forget to brush your teeth after its consumption. Now, this is a few research insights from Harvard School of Public Health, where they have focused especially on tea. Okay, the spotlight is on tea and its antioxidants. As I already told you, that polyphenols, okay, or your flavonoids, they are mainly present in your tea, right? And these are the antioxidants. They help in reducing inflammation in your body, okay? Apart from that, what these polyphenols can do is they can also decrease the cholesterol levels in your body and they can protect you from heart disease, etc. And when we talk about green tea, especially, so green tea, okay, so one more important thing, people say that green tea helps in losing weight. You guys agree? Green tea helps in losing weight. So let me clear this thing. Green tea, okay, like just drinking green tea won't help you in losing weight. Obviously, green tea helps in boosting your metabolism, okay? It will boost your metabolism. And apart from that, green tea, it contains EGCG, which is again, EGCG, it is a very good antioxidant. It will help in reducing inflammation in your body. It is also good for those people, those women who are suffering from acne problems, etc. And if you are consuming a good low-calorie diet along with a proper exercise schedule, and then if you're taking green tea, then definitely it can help you in weight loss. But green tea alone can't help you in weight loss. Okay. And then your herbal teas. Herbal teas, they do not contain caffeine. That is why my suggestion, like because we are discussing this right now about tea. So my suggestion would be to consume herbal teas. Okay. Though we can't say that, okay, we should completely give up on ginger tea or black tea, etc. But herbal teas are good because they contain polyphenols and they have no caffeine, right? And even this polyphenol content will vary depending upon from which plant, this herbal tea has been extracted. First thing. So herbal teas, they are naturally caffeine free. There's no decaffeination process. So here we are talking about is the decaffeinated tea. Decaffeinated tea may basically we have this herbal tea because they do not contain any caffeine, though they definitely contain the polyphenol, which, as I already told you, the polyphenol content will vary depending upon the origin of the herbal tea, right? But it is actually a good beverage choice. So herbal tea is definitely a good beverage choice. And when we talk about the coffee, So coffee, as I told you, it will help in reducing your fatigueness. It will boost your energy level. You will get that sudden energy, right? And coffee is also a great pre-workout beverage to be, consumed, especially the black coffee, not the one with milk, but black coffee is great for pre-workout. And coffee, it helps in supporting brain health, right? It makes you more active. It definitely helps you to focus well. It lowers the risk of depression, definitely. It also helps in lowering the risk of type 2 diabetes, helping in weight management as well, and decreases the risk of heart ailments, decreases the risk of Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease. Another research study which I came across, and this is by one of the very famous RD, his name is Andy the RD, who makes very good graphical contents on nutrition. So he talks about coffee and microbiome relation. Okay, so this is one study which he found, that when a study was done on the microbiome, that is the gut microbes, okay, the microbes which live in your gut. So he did a study on the microbiomes of 34 people, okay, and he categorized them into people who drink less than 1 cup of coffee per day and people who drink more than 1 cup of coffee per day, right? So what he found was, interestingly, people who drink less than 1 cup of coffee per day, they had less microbiome diversity, lower amounts of healthy bacteria, and high amount of inflammatory substances or inflammatory species. On the other hand, people who drink more than 1 cup of coffee per day, so their microbiome diversity was huge. They had good amounts of healthy bacteria, good amounts of anti-inflammatory species, right? So this is one study which he did. And as I already told you, that coffee definitely has anti-inflammatory action. It helps to reduce inflammation. But now the question over here is, does it mean that you should drink more than 1 cup of coffee? Like, does more than 1 cup of coffee means you can drink 3 cups, 4 cups, 5 cups a day? Then no, the answer is no. In the subsequent slides, we will see how much cups will be good for you, right? Ideally, having 2 cups of coffee or tea is fine. It's the safest for one to drink, right? And when we talk about caffeine, like we are talking about caffeine content in tea and as well as in coffee. So what does this caffeine actually does to your body? First thing, if you are too much caffeinated, caffeine can definitely heighten anxiety. Okay, it can even aggravate the symptoms of people who are already in depression, people who are suffering from bipolar disorder, people who are suffering from schizophrenia, etc. So it can definitely heighten anxiety, and it can also trigger vertigo. Okay, so it can definitely trigger vertigo in a few patients. And there's another syndrome known as caffeine withdrawal. So if someone, who is like a coffee lover or who has a regular habit of drinking, let's say 2-3 cups of coffee daily, and if there is a caffeine withdrawal, it can definitely trigger migraine symptoms like dizziness, headache, even after 1 week, of a consistent consumption. So this caffeine withdrawal can happen just like we have alcohol withdrawal symptoms. Similarly, there are caffeine withdrawal symptoms as well. Another thing, drinking too much of coffee can even heat up your body. Okay, so these are a few of the symptoms which can happen if you drink too much of caffeine, right? And this was one of the posts from a very famous nutritionist, that is Dizzy the Cook from Instagram. She posts really good contents from research articles and make them in a graphical presentation. Now, so as we talked about tannins, right? Tannins are a type of bad polyphenols which are there in your tea and your coffee as well, right? So this was a research done in the earlier 1975 on the effect of tea on iron absorption. Okay, so let me tell you that both coffee and tea, okay, they contain tannins. Tannins are a type of polyphenols which can decrease your iron absorption by up to 90%. And the more polyphenols, like more of these polyphenols you consume, that is, more of tannins you consume, the more are the chances that they will inhibit your iron absorption. So it simply means that the more cups of tea and coffee you consume, more will be it will hamper your iron absorption process. And another important thing I would like to bring into notice is like what I have seen with my clients, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, few of you might be even, following this habit. First thing is having tea, okay, or coffee with vegetables which are, a good source of iron. For example, methi, you have fenugreek leaves. So if someone is consuming, let's say, a methi parantha, okay, with tea, then that will be a bad food combination because tea contains tannins and they can interfere with the iron which you're getting from your methi. Though it's not too much iron, very minimal amount, but still it can interfere with your iron absorption. Similarly, I have seen people having, this thing, your chana. So chana, that is your chickpea, having chana, which is a good source of iron, chana with coffee or chana with tea. So there are few food combinations which just don't fit well with your tea and coffee because they contain tannins and they can interfere with the iron absorption. First thing is this. Secondly, can we have tea on an empty stomach? Okay. So no, the answer is no. Though it's the most common practice in the Indian households that people, they drink tea empty stomach. Even coffee, they just get up and they go to the kitchen, they make the tea and coffee and they just have it without having any food. Okay. So this is a wrong practice. One should avoid doing it because it can cause acidity. Okay, it can actually increase the level of acid in your stomach, and also it can cause bloating issues in few people. So try to avoid this practice, right? So what can be a good alternative? You can switch to herbal teas like chamomile tea, lavender tea, lemongrass tea. So there's a lemongrass plant also, which one can grow in their homes, and lemongrass is excellent for people who have heart issues, who have diabetes, right? Because it helps in even lowering down the blood glucose levels. So lemongrass tea is an excellent herbal tea. Then you have jasmine tea, you have rose tea, hibiscus tea. So all of these herbal teas, they have zero caffeine, right? So this is one good alternative. Or you can simply switch to caffeine-free drinks, like you have Kanji, which is a very good probiotic drink. Okay, it will also help in increasing the good microbiota in your gut, right? Then you have your buttermilk, you can have lemon water, you can have your sattu drink. So there are many, caffeine-free drinks which you can definitely consume. Now, there are few frequently asked questions, and I'm pretty sure you all must be having this doubt as well. That what is the recommended quantity of tea or coffee to consume daily? See, first of all, it depends on the health conditions as well, right? But according to the scientific studies and what most health experts suggest is, if you are looking for a safe consumption, okay, so there's no exact recommended level, but you can say that if you're looking for a safe consumption, then ideally 2 to 3 cups is fine. But in my opinion, I think just 1 cup of tea or coffee will be perfect for someone who who is maybe in a habit of drinking tea or coffee. Maybe 1 or 2 cups will be fine, right? And because what will happen if you are too much caffeinated? So first thing, if you are looking between the great debate, between tea and coffee, then because I'm actually a coffee lover, but still I would prefer tea because the caffeine content is less. First thing, but again, what will happen if you are drinking too much of caffeine? Okay, so if you're too much caffeinated, the effects are really adverse. Firstly, caffeine can definitely increase your heart rate. Okay, it causes insomnia. Okay, your hands start shaking. There's this jitteriness which is there, right? And but again, this may vary from people to people, because there are few clients which I have seen who can definitely tolerate, high caffeine content without experiencing any of the adverse effects. So it's very much important to be mindful, to listen to what your body requires, and then decide whether I should consume tea or I should consume coffee. And I would not even tell you guys, like if you are in a habit of drinking chai every day or drinking coffee every day, I'm not telling you to just leave it, to just ditch it. No, you should not do that. But what you can do is you can regulate your amount, you can regulate the number of cups you are drinking, and you can just simply buy a small, teacup, a small cup for tea. I think, as we say, that portion control is the key. So having a small size of cup will definitely make a difference, right? So now it's up to you. You have to decide that who won the great debate, whether it is tea or it is coffee. So I gave my opinion. Now it's time for you to decide whether you are still a tea lover or a coffee lover, or you would prefer both. Okay, so this is I'm leaving up to you. And if you have any questions, definitely we can discuss. Actually, I had to attend another webinar in 10 minutes. So if you have detailed questions, that also I would happy to answer. You can mail me on my email ID, or you can simply ping me on WhatsApp. Anything will be fine. Thank you so much for being such patient listeners. Yeah, thank you.
Very good, Kanishka. That brings to
Thank you.
an important question. All of you have questions. Do you think, I'm asking all the members, do you think that if we have a mechanism to take your questions, get your answers to you, let me know. Sahara, please.
Yeah,
You can unmute and talk. Kanishka, you may leave because you have another engagement. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And please feel free to ask me questions. I would happy to answer.
How many minutes do you have? How much time you have for question answer now? Kanishka ji?
Yeah, you can ask me. You can ask me, ma'am. Please,
Okay,
continue.
I like my regular tea, right? With milk.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't like the herbal tea because it doesn't take we can add the milk, right, in herbal. So I don't
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
But since, from the young age, I was drinking this regular tea. To reduce the effect of caffeine, what we can do, how we can prepare something to reduce the caffeine, or what else we can eat so we can reduce the effect of caffeine.
Okay, very good question. So one thing I would like to suggest you is, when you are preparing your tea, so you have that tea leaves, right? The tea masala. Try to put it in less amount, and you can put milk in more quantity, because that will actually help in reducing the caffeine which you are putting in your tea. Though the content of caffeine in tea is very less, as I showed you in the slide. So it's fine if you are putting just 1 teaspoon of your chai masala or your tea powder to your tea. That will be fine. And try to consume 1 cup of tea. It will be better. Or maybe 2 cups of small tea cup.
okay, next is Balaji. Balaji, you can ask.
This is
Balaji.
Chris Bala's husband. I've got two questions. One is, I think we can use honey with tea instead of sugar. And the second question is, we in South India, we have filter coffee that has got chicory. Is it as good as the regular coffee, or does it have anything more or less than the regular coffee in terms of effects?
Okay. Thank you so much for your question. So firstly, definitely, you can add, honey to your tea, because it is a better alternative than sugar. So yeah, you can definitely do that, but try to add just 1 tablespoon of honey. I think that would be better. And Secondly, as you asked me about filter coffee. So see, like it depends on the method of preparation, right? For example, if you're having, let's say, cappuccino and filter coffee, then the caffeine content will be more in your cappuccino as compared to your filter coffee, because it depends on how the coffee beans are being roasted and, in depth how the process is done. So yeah, it will differ. The caffeine content will differ. And ideally, if you compare cappuccino with filter coffee, then in filter coffee the content will be quite less, but there's not vast difference again. But in comparison, it will be less. Yeah.
Yeah, the question is in South Indian filter coffee, 20 to 30% is chicory and the other 70% is coffee, beans. So
Is chicory good for you?
is chicory good for us or is it not so good?
It's fine. It's fine. Like I'm not saying it's good or it's not, but still it will be fine. Yeah. It won't cause you
Okay.
much adverse health effects as such. Yeah, because again, it's a herb, right? Chicory is a herb, right? It won't do anything adverse.
It happened.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Excellent.
So if you have any more questions, please you can mail it to me, or you can simply WhatsApp. I will answer. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Kanishka ji.
Thank you so
I'm so
much.
sorry I have to
Thank
leave
you.
early today. Otherwise, I'm always happy to answer your questions, but today I have to leave a bit early. So
Excuse me, Kanishka ji, Upajaya
yes,
Kanishka ji.
ma'am.
This is
Yes,
Ratna
ma'am.
Akhe Devarpalli. I have lot of gas problem. I put mint leaves in the tea with green tea and mint leaves.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's completely fine. You can put mint leaves in green tea. Yeah, mint leaves, tulsi leaves, all this you can put. No problem. Yeah. And
Okay.
if you have gas problem, are you having tea on an empty stomach, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah, so try to avoid that practice. Don't have tea on an empty stomach. You can have it with, something.
Oh, okay. Thank you, thank you. That's
We have-
what I
Thank
have a
you.
lot of gas, and my doctor said, "Oh no, mint leaves no good for you. That makes you gas like the gastroenterology."
Mint leaves won't cause you gas. Definitely it won't.
Mint
We will
leaves
have another
no good,
session.
Kanishka ji. No good for gas.
No,
Mint
mint leaves won't cause you any gas. It's fine. It
Oh,
won't cause you
okay,
gas.
okay,
Gas must be because
Right.
you're taking it on an empty
Oh,
stomach.
empty
Try
stomach.
to switch.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Thank
We
you
will have
so
another
much.
session. Excuse
Thank
me. We will have another session because this is just tea and
Sure.
coffee. But to ask about all the other herbs which go with our drinks, coffee or tea, that's a big topic. I'm so happy to say that when we are coming down to these things, the subject is so vast, so many
True.
things, and we'll come back with another session on herbs. But still, we have 10-15 minutes if you wish to discuss after Kanishka leaves, as she has to leave now. How to get
Kanishka
the
ji.
questions from you,
Yes.
from the members. Bye-bye, Kanishka.
Yeah,
How
Bye.
Kanishka,
So
the
bye.
questions?
Kanishka ji. I have one question.
Jasna
can-
ji, she has another program. She
Oh.
she cannot answer. You can email WhatsApp में आप question कर सकते हैं, then she can answer. Okay.
Can you give me phone number? Her phone number?
Yes, I can put it in the chat, or you want,
Okay.
I'll put her number in the chat.
In WhatsApp, right? In WhatsApp.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm giving her number in chat. Please note it.
Dr.
Okay.
Rao, should I continue the recording or I can stop the
Stop. You
recording?
can stop the recording.
Okay.